Good evening. I'm political editor Dennis Welch, and this is Politics Unplugged. And joining us tonight is Dr. Kelli Ward, who is seeking to unseat Senator John McCain in the GOP primary for the U.S. Senate. I want to just thank you for stopping by, and let's jump right in. Let's talk about what everybody's talking about, what the buzz is right now. You're saying that Senator John McCain is too old to serve in the Senate. You standing by that statement? Well,
what I said on MSNBC was that, I wanted to wish Senator McCain a happy 80th birthday. On Monday, he turns 80. I want to give him the best gift ever, the gift of retirement.
But you also said that you're a doctor and you've seen end of life. What did you mean by that? It was in regards to McCain. What did you mean by that?
Well, I mean, there's a normal aging process. We all go through it, and, the life expectancy of the American male is 76 years of age, and so he's going to turn 80. It's something that people should know and consider as they're determining who they're going to vote for.
So do you think he's too old to serve?
Well, I think he's been in Washington, D.C. for way too long. He's been there almost 4 decades, and he hasn't delivered what the people of Arizona have been crying out for years and years and years. Border security, stopping illegal immigration, fixing the economy, getting the VA under control, and making sure that we deliver on the promises that we made to our veterans who put their lives on the line to uphold our liberty and our freedom.
But why inject age into the campaign right now? Because that seems to be like a pretty tough position to be in, an issue to be injecting into this when there's so much else going on.
Well, I think people need to know how old the people are that are seeking to go to Washington. We're discussing it again and again and again about Hillary Clinton. Back, 8 years ago when Senator McCain ran for president, the mainstream media brought it up over and over and over again. John McCain in 2013 said he doesn't want to be one of those old guys who needs to be shuffled out. So it's out there. It's something that the voters deserve to know.
Is there anything that's you've seen physically or intellectually, with McCain? I'm not saying his policies or anything. You're a doctor. Is there anything you've seen that would encourage you to bring up this issue?
Well, intellectually, I don't think it was very smart when the party, the AZ GOP, censured him in 2014 for his terrible voting record.
That has nothing to
It doesn't seem, well, maybe it does.
I'm talking about his,
maybe it does,
seen anything that has slowed him down? Is he slowed down at all?
I don't know. I know I've been running circles around him on the campaign trail, attending 5 or 6 campaign events every single day, public events, not scripted events. I know that we were supposed to debate in Cottonwood a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't show up. He told the organizers he was going to come. He told Mike Broomhead that he was going to come. He was going to come, then he wasn't. Then he was, then he wasn't. And he didn't show up. And the 150 people that were in the audience weren't having anything that his surrogate had to say, because what he kept saying was, John McCain's going to fill in the blank, secure the border, fix the VA. And they said he's had 34 years already in Washington, and he hasn't done any of it. We want new blood.
So what about other elected politicians? You've been endorsed by Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio. He's been in office for decades now. He's 4 years older than John McCain. So
he is.
Well, he must be ready for retirement too.
He's been busy trying to fix the problems that John McCain created with his open borders policies. John McCain's invade the world, invite the world foreign policy that he shares with Hillary Clinton has caused this country, our state, and this world to be a much more dangerous place. Invade the world in terms of going into Iraq, Libya, Egypt, Syria, creating a vacuum that's immense, that's filled with radical Islamic elements that with his open borders, open arms, has brought to our country. And what we've seen is a pile of bodies from Benghazi to Orlando, and it's got to stop.
So age a factor for McCain, not for other public officials, just for the guy you're running against?
People have to consider how long people have been in office and the success at delivering the policies that they would like to see. John McCain's failed, Sheriff Arpaio has not.
Okay, so let's move on then a little bit more. Now let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump. You've been an enthusiastic supporter of his. He's also brought up issues about Hillary Clinton's health. Do you think this is a legitimate issue as well?
Well, I mean, I think it's something that we need to look at. As people are seeking, she is trying to be the leader of the free world, and we need to know that she's healthy enough to actually do the job, and that it's not going to be carried out by her aides.
Okay, and so you're going to stick by, you said earlier before that, you're a big supporter of Donald Trump.
I am.
Do you have any concern about the so-called pivot, where he is appears to be softening his position on immigration.
Well, I think the media keeps bringing that up, but we haven't heard Donald Trump's immigration policy. I look forward to hearing it. I think he's going to deliver it here in Arizona.
That's kind of a problem,
on August 31st.
I mean, don't you think that's a problem, though? We're 70-some days away from the election, and you're saying we haven't heard his immigration policy. He's been talking about immigration for over a year, and we still don't know what his policy is.
Right. Well, he's been formulating that, and I'll tell you that he's going to need legislative partners to be able to put the policy forward to get things done. And I was a very effective Arizona State Senator, getting 19 bills signed into law in 2015 alone. That's what people are going to want in Washington. They want somebody that will be able to work with President Trump to put forward policy to secure the border, to fix the VA, to get the economy going, and to put America first on trade.
And so Mr. Trump has said, I believe he was on CNN the other night with talking to Anderson Cooper, and he said, look, if people can pay taxes, they can stay here legally. This sounds an awful lot like the Gang of Eight bill that Senator John McCain sponsored.
We'll see. We'll see what his policy actually is. I do. I still adamantly oppose it. And we do not want the Gang of Eight to come back on steroids in 2017, which is yet another reason why we need to retire John McCain.
So if there is a provision in there where people living in the country illegally right now are able, and they haven't broken the law, and are able to pay back taxes.
Well, they've broken the law because they came here illegally.
Otherwise, not broken the law. And if they pay taxes and fines, and they're able to stay here, is that amnesty or is it not amnesty?
I think it's amnesty.
So if this is Donald Trump's platform, are you going to still stick by him?
I will stick by him because Hillary Clinton is the alternative, and she is dangerous to our Supreme Court. She's dangerous to our borders. She's dangerous to our national sovereignty. She's dangerous to our economy, and Hillary Clinton can never be the president. Never Hillary.
And do you think that all illegal immigrants should be deported from the country?
I think we need to follow our existing American laws so that we are a sovereign nation. And if deportation is included in those laws, then that's something that people have to face as a potential consequence for coming here and breaking in rather than coming in the front door.
All right, and you sought Mr. Trump's endorsement. He did ultimately give that to John McCain. Were you a little bit surprised about that?
You know, of course I'm disappointed, but I think that the people in Arizona who support Donald Trump also support Kelli Ward. I've seen it across the entire state, and that and they know that the two of us are going to be an unbeatable team in Washington to put this country on the right track.
All right, you know, I kind of wanted to circle back. I forgot to ask you a little bit about this. I wanted to get your response to the McCain response when you went on to MSNBC and said, look, you know, John McCain's going to be turning 80 years old. You injected race into that. Now, their response,
that was age, not race.
Sorry about that, age. So their response to that was you must be spending too much time on chemtrails.
I know. That sounds pretty desperate, doesn't it? It's from a campaign that has nothing to sell. He can't tell us what he's done. His spokespeople can't tell us what he's done, because what he has done is again and again and again joined with the Democrats and brought a few Republican votes over to the Democrat side to push liberal progressive policies down our throats. Tell me a time when he has brought some Republican votes over to the Democrat side, and I mean, brought some Democrat votes over to the Republican side. Sorry, he's notorious for bringing Republicans to the Democrats. Bringing Democrat votes over to our side to get conservative policies. He doesn't, because he is busy attacking conservatives at every turn. He's called the Tea Party hobbits. He called Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Mike Lee wacko birds when they wanted to stop Obamacare. He called Trump supporters in this very state who want to secure the border crazies. So the list of names that he has for conservatives goes on and on. But guess what? He's got a few names for Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama too. Rock star comes to mind. So if he thinks that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama have rock star policies, it makes me very concerned about having him in the United States Senate for 6 more years.
So let's talk a little bit about that. They've been attacking you on the chemtrail thing. That is because you had a public hearing up in your district, up in northwest Arizona.
On the environment.
On the environment, but it also included discussion on chemtrails.
Well, there were people that were in attendance that were concerned about chemtrails.
I was going to say, explain some of that.
I think that because there's nice alliteration with that, because my name starts with K and chem starts with a K, they've tagged me with that. But I had town halls on healthcare, I had town halls on education and the environment, all things that anybody should expect from an elected official.
Chemtrail was on the agenda, correct?
No. Environmental policies and environmental safety in Legislative District 5 was on the agenda. Okay,
so then, again, you had nothing to do with it.
No, watch the tape. It's available on the internet. I mean, if you can get through all of the hours of the tape, it's right there. You will not hear me talk about it at all, but you'll hear a lot of people that were there in attendance talking to the experts that I brought into the state so that they could be assured that our state, where we lived in my legislative district, was safe.
Okay, now let's move a little bit on to foreign policy here. You have talked a lot about ISIS and terrorism out there. Now, you've been critical of John McCain and his positions on this, but it appears at this point right now, the United States has been making big inroads, and our allies have been making big inroads in destroying ISIS, taking territory away. Do you think that the current administration's policies have been successful?
No. Definitely not. I mean, ISIS has become stronger and stronger and stronger. The vacuum that we helped create has become bigger and bigger and bigger. And the people who want to do us harm are able to get here through the open border policies of John McCain and Hillary Clinton. It's got to stop. We've got to secure the border. We've got to mix the mortar to fix the border. I'm ready.
And I've heard you say that before,
yes.
But I mean, it seems like it's going to be a lot more difficult than just some sort of tagline like that.
Oh, it definitely is, because we all know that border security is national security. That's why it is on so many people's minds right here in Arizona. So we do have to have a physical barrier, you know, a wall, a fence, something that tells people there's a right way to come in and a wrong way. We have to utilize technology to the fullest. We need to empower our border patrol to be able to do their jobs and stop people from coming in. We need to turn off the goodies, healthcare, education, housing, you know, all of those things need to be turned off, and employers need to be held accountable if they hire illegal workers. You know, we have to make sure that the people who come here realize that there are consequences to their actions rather than rewards. And when we do, we will be able to secure that border. And then we can deal with the mess that John McCain and Teddy Kennedy have created with immigration.
Now let's talk a little bit now. McCain has been in the Senate for a while, and he does have a ranking position on the Senate Armed Services Committee. Yes. And that is a big deal here for Arizona for military bases here, like Fort Huachuca, Davis-Monthan, yes. Luke, getting money, keeping these bases here.
Yes.
How are you going to be able to do a better job of doing that than John McCain can, who is the head of that committee?
Right. Well, I mean, I'd ask you and ask the people that are watching, what do you think John McCain has done in the last 34 years, and what has he done as the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee? I know that the military is important to Arizona. I'm a military wife. My husband has been in the military for 32 years. He's still serving today. So we need to have the strongest military in the world, and we need to have in Arizona people fighting for our assets. But remember, the military needs Arizona as well, because we've got the terrain and the climate to be able to train almost indefinitely every day of the year. We've got the ability to store our military assets without deterioration, unlike anywhere else in this great country. And we have the A-10, which is an ISIS decimator. And
McCain has fought very hard for the A-10.
He fought to stall it, but he didn't fight to keep it. And so we have to keep that. It's the only airframe that provides the close air support for our men and women on the ground to protect them. When our guys hear it coming, they cheer. When the enemy hears it coming, they run for their lives. All right. Well, thanks. So that's all the time we have for this segment. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck to you on Tuesday. But we got lots more to come here on Politics Unplugged. Coming up next, race takes a center stage in the race for president.
Hillary Clinton is a bigot.
Donald Trump calls Hillary Clinton a bigot, and she says he is bringing out the worst in us. Tonight, racism and the road to the White House. And Andy Biggs seeks to move from the state capitol to Washington. Some former colleagues now say he failed women and children of Colorado City. Questions about power and playing politics.
He claims he's biking cross-country to lose weight.
He's eating trash food. This is a scale. Step on.
Next, Dr. Phil. Plus, in 2 weeks, JonBenét's brother breaks his silence.
Monday at 3 on 3 TV.
These days, we're always connected. But when do we take time to really connect? Peter Piper Pizza is the perfect place for some family FaceTime, where you can check in with each other. Sharing is done in person, and social has nothing to do with media. Unplug, then reconnect at Peter Piper Pizza. Double your delight at Peter Piper Pizza. Right now, get 2 large one-topping pizzas on handmade dough for just $22. It's 2 for $22. Peter Piper Pizza. Everyone grab a slice.
Celeste. We want to return our house. It's a lemon. But it's got those vaulted ceilings.
The internet is really slow. We can't get anything done.
And I sell dollhouse furniture online.
It's her hobby.
It's a business.
Oh, you must have CenturyLink. Just get Cox. They have the same top speeds everywhere.
We'll keep it.
Everyone deserves fast. Bundles including Cox high-speed internet start at just $99.99 a month. $100 prepaid card included.
Cox, that's easy.
I was ready to walk away.
As any reasonable person would.
What are you waiting for? Bundles including Cox high-speed internet start at just $99.99 a month. $100 prepaid card included.
Yes, Cox is available in this area. Yes, I'll put it in writing.
Why wait? With the same top speeds everywhere, bundles including Cox high-speed internet start at just $99.99 a month. $100 prepaid card included.
High five.
You paid too much for those glasses.
Who?
You. Designer frames? Well, so are these. And these. And these. And they all cost less than those.
How?
America's Best. Where 2 pairs of designer glasses and a free eye exam start at $69.95. Get ready to
Turn some heads.
save money.
That's good, too.
The designer sales event is not just a better deal, it's America's Best. Hurry, sale ends Saturday.
And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. And let's move right on to the campaign trail with our partners from First Strategic, Steve Roman and Marcus Dellartino. I'll start with you, Marcus. Get your thoughts on Kelli Ward and her comments about Senator John McCain and his age.
Sure. Well, this tactic's been tried before. I remember it vividly during the presidential campaign, and it doesn't stick. And the reason it doesn't stick is because John McCain has more energy than I do, and frankly, that you do. He's sort of the Energizer Bunny. But also, you know, there is some irony here when you look around. When you've got to look at these people that make these accusations are also supporters of Joe Arpaio, who don't think he's been too old. You know, certainly Donald Trump's no spring chicken either. So, you know, I think that there's 100 better angles that you can use on John than John's
Who's going to win? Who's going to win that race?
You know, the polls are pretty consistent at this point that John McCain's got a sizable lead, and I think that's evident in the fact that when you're looking at the TV advertising, John switched to attacking anchor Patrick rather than Kelli Ward.
All right, let's move on to the presidential race. A lot of talk this past week about Donald Trump and a potential pivot on immigration. Some say he's softening. He says he's hardening on this issue. Here, let's take a listen to what he had to say.
I've had people say it's a hardening, actually.
But 11 million who have not committed a crime.
No, we're then going to
be a
see
path to legalization. Is that right?
You know it's a process. You can't take 11 at one time and just say, boom, you're gone. We have to find.
So what is this? What is this? Is he walking back? Is he softening his position on immigration?
No, he has done a complete 180. He's not softened, he's changed. He's now taken the position of John McCain, he's taken the position of Jeb Bush, he's taken the position of Marco Rubio. They have identical positions. The positions that he said were so weak are now exactly what he's taking. And I have to tell, my head wants to explode when all these people say, I am so mad at McCain, but I love Trump, and yet Trump's position is exactly McCain's position. So, no, it is not a softening, it's a 180. And the last thing is anybody that believes him now is going to have a tough time believing that he's actually going to put up that wall. Because what's to stop him from changing that position later on as well?
All right, but I just want to say here, the two Hispanic groups, not the only minority group he was reaching out to last week. He also reached out to the African-American community. Let's take a listen to what he had to say regarding that.
Hillary Clinton is a bigot who sees people of color only as votes, not as human beings worthy of a better future. She's going to do nothing for African Americans. She's going to do nothing for the Hispanics.
It doesn't seem like he knows what the word bigot means, does he?
I think he does know, but let me back up for a second, because this is the second time I've seen a member of the media use the word pivot regarding his comments on immigration reform. It is not a pivot.
I'm getting a lecture from Marcus now.
Pivot is a different political maneuver. That's a flat-out changing of policy. But moving on, you know, that was very strong language. The response from the Clinton campaign was very strong. It's only getting worse, and frankly, the American people should not be shocked if they've watched the primary. We talked about the size of men's hands and how it relates to a different physical feature of men. I think we should have all seen this coming.
Now, Trump seems to be saying that she is bigoted because she's not doing it. She's saying that she's doing something to help the African-American community when she's really not. Is that a fair criticism?
I think that yes, that is somewhat of a fair criticism, that her policies have not necessarily, and the Democratic policies over time have not necessarily helped the African-American community, but that has nothing to do with bigotry. Look, here's the reality. You have an election where millions of people are going to be voting for a candidate that they either dislike or distrust. That's a fact. And when you have that in place, anything, those dynamics are in place now where anything can happen, and people are going to be throwing out all sorts of things to try to change the balance of what's going on.
Now, Clinton is the one, she says that Trump is the real racist here, and she says, quote, he is taking a hate movement mainstream. Is there anything to that, Marcus?
Look, these statements are getting more preposterous as this election goes on. They're going to call each other everything in the book, under the sink, whatever analogy you want to use. It's getting awful. No, I don't think he's taking it mainstream. What both these candidates have to understand is the American public is ticked off, and they're mad because nothing has happened. Their lives have not gotten better over the last 8 years. That's manifested itself in this election cycle, both on the Democratic side is Bernie Sanders, and on this side is Donald Trump.
All right, we're going to have to take a quick break, but we do have lots more to talk about here on Politics Unplugged. We'll be right back.
There is a place, unlike anywhere else on Earth, where you can walk among red giants. A place where your spirit will soar and your heart will race. Where a simple stroll can turn into the adventure of a lifetime. A place where you can become small and mighty all at once. Sedona. The most beautiful place on Earth in so many ways.
We love spending time indoors with our owners, even though we can be hard on flooring, and there's always fear of an accident. But our owners called Express Flooring and got huge warehouse savings on new pet stain-resistant flooring with a lifetime pet stain warranty. We may test the limits of that warranty, but now we get to spend more time than ever with those we love.
Through Labor Day, save 67% on all in-stock flooring, plus buy with no interest until 2018.
Express Flooring is the best. Call 800-EXPRESS.
I'm Russell Shaw with Realty One Group. For years I've been telling you, we help more home sellers sell, offer flexible commissions, the right to sell it yourself, and if you're not happy, fire me. Let my results speak.
It was on the market for 12 days and sold.
13 days after listing, we're under contract.
We had a contract in 19 hours.
I'm not bragging. I'm applying for a job. I want to be your realtor.
Call 602-957-7777.
Thank you.
51 hours, over $1,200. That's the estimated amount of time and money you lose sitting in traffic every year. But we can help save you some of that time and money with the 3TV Phoenix Traffic app. Get live traffic conditions on the new interactive traffic map, up-to-the-minute accident and construction alerts, and see the road conditions for yourself with access to live feeds from traffic cameras on all the major freeways. Get the new and improved 3TV Phoenix Traffic app.
I'm Gina Maravilla from Arizona's Family Surprise Squad.
We just want to say a big thank you to you guys.
I feel like I'm in a dream. Somebody pinch me.
I've never gotten anything given to me in my life.
Arizona's Family Surprise Squad is on the move.
I can't believe you. Thank you.
We need to help our teachers.
Thank you. I really do.
Nice to know people care.
Thank you so much, Arizona's Family.
Where will we be next? Gotta find out.
Thank you, 3TV.
And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. It's now time to move on to our hot topic of the night. And one of the most hotly contested races is that congressional race for CD5, where Matt Salmon is retiring. And the latest polls show former Senate President Andy Biggs is in the lead, and that has some of his former colleagues speaking up, saying Biggs failed to pass legislation that could have protected the women and children living up in Colorado City. Now, some fellow Republicans say Biggs turned a blind eye to the abuse in this polygamous community. There are well-documented cases of young girls being forced to marry older men, and those lawmakers say Biggs held a bill that could have helped stop it.
We had that opportunity with this bill to be proactive, and it just died for a reason I can't explain.
I felt that if we didn't address that issue, then we essentially are protecting the pedophile.
interview, but he did say that this bill would have dissolved the Colorado City police force and would have forced and solved a lot of those problems. Now, he did issue us a statement here saying, quote, one of the primary factors that Andy Biggs weighs heavily is constitutionality, and that HB 2648 had too many constitutional impediments to support it. Now, Marcus, I'll start with you. Is this going to be an issue that's you know, plays into this race here in the final days of the campaign?
Well, clearly it's playing into the race, as you've just had a segment on it, so I think it's going to be an issue.
What about with voters,
I would tell you, it matters. I don't think that the Jones campaign is planning on using that right now. It looks like their closing ads have to do with different subjects, but I think it'll be a topic of discussion. But also in that district, most people know that Andy Biggs is a constitutionalist. I mean, he wrote a book on the Constitution. Nobody probably knows it better than Andy Biggs. And this bill clearly had an issue with the Constitution.
Under his tenure, I mean, he has voted for plenty of bills that have been, you know, ruled unconstitutional, and I'm thinking Senate Bill 1070 for one bill, and there's also been other questions out there of constitutionality for bills that have went through the legislation. That hasn't stopped them running.
The constitutionality on 1070 was decided by the Supreme Court, not by the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee clearly found this unconstitutional. And by the way, to that point, because I'm playing the part of Andy Biggs in case everybody hasn't figured this out, is that if this was so important, why didn't the sponsors of the bill fix the constitutional nature, either bring it back that session or bring it back the next session, because this bill was not in the last couple of months?
Look, this race has tightened pretty significantly, and you've got, frankly, Jones and you've got Biggs and Stapley, that all of them have sort of, it's gotten very tight and anything could happen. So things like this could, on the margins, make a slight difference. What is going to make the bigger difference is the fact that Jones has more money at the end to close, and that's probably going to end up being to her benefit, but it's going to be a tight race.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Christine Jones. She has positioned herself as the outsider in this race, and really you could say that she quite literally is. Now, she does not live inside the 5th Congressional District, which is located in the East Valley. She told us the other day that she has no intentions to move there either. Now, remember, there is no requirement that you do have to live in the district.
If it makes sense for us to actually live there, then obviously we will, but I have no current plans to move. But really what we found is it makes no difference to people. When they find out there's really no rule that you have to live, what they really want is an outsider, somebody who's not a politician, to bring.
Now, I'll start with you. Do you think this is going to be an issue with voters? Again, no requirement that you have to live in the district, but do you think voters look at that and say, you know, hey, you should probably live here if you want to represent us?
Short answer, no. It's not going to make a big difference. Once again, on the very, very tiniest of margins, it may make a slight difference, but no, I don't think that it has make a difference. It will make a difference. It hasn't for other congressmen who have not lived in their district as well.
Now, I also want to talk about, there's two other candidates in this race, Justin Olson, Don Stapley. Don Stapley is well known out in that district. His family's been involved in politics since the state was founded. In fact, his great-grandfather actually helped write the Constitution of Arizona. Now, he has been kind of trailing in third. Does he have a shot to come back and pull this off?
Well, he does have a shot, but, you know, he needs a real shot in the arm with money. And that's the problem right now, is that when you're looking at this race, you got to see who's got the better close, who's been able to bank enough votes early. You know, the race right now is bunched up with three of them. Christine Jones clearly has the money to do that. I disagree with Steve that the issue of her living outside the district is going to be an issue. That particular district is, as you have noted, families have lived there for 100 years. I think it's important that they have somebody that lives there. That being said, I don't think it'll be enough to compete with. She's got so much money in this race, and her closing ads.
We've got about 15 seconds left. Who's going to be the winner in CD5 primary night?
I hate when you do this, because especially I will take Mr. Biggs then.
Oh,
you know, I think
are you just being contrary to be contrary?
Well, it's the story of my life.
Welcome to my life.
All right, well, that is all the time we have for Politics Unplugged tonight. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Good night.